The following is an excerpt from an askSlim premium level video. Follow us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and do subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Share it. There's tons that come out every single week. Follow us on Twitter at askSlim, and write to Matt at askSlim.com for trial memberships. We have trial memberships available for all of our levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And go to the askSlim.com website for details. Thank you, and enjoy the video. So I'm going to do a little different analysis right now on the US dollar Japanese yen. Usually when I show you analysis in here, when I do FutureSpeak, I look at the daily and weekly charts, and I pop out at the momentum in there on the daily chart and weekly chart. All of that looks pretty clear, but I don't take quite the deep dive that I'm going to take right now as I switch this chart over to this Japanese yen chart. And we're going to look at actually 4 charts right now. And what I want you to see is that as we saw in the dollar, as we saw in the other currencies, there was this big move that occurred during when the COVID crisis hit. And there was a massive flight, in this case, out of the dollar when it broke first, and then back into the dollar. Out of the dollar because of the massive printing likely, and back into the dollar in a flight to safety. That was the way that trend hit. It hit this VTL, broke down, brought that massive collapse. That's a valid trend line built by the cycles, and then broke down pretty significantly, but then came back very strongly. But now you can see the erosion going on. And again, you're getting this kind of diamond shape that's forming in here, and it's getting down to the support level right over here. This pattern in here is suggestive whether this old cycle is what we're looking for, and that's this projection right here, or that slightly shifted cycle, and that's this projection right here. That would take you to end of July through the beginning of September. Well, that's kind of the window of time that this dollar is likely to accelerate in a big way to the downside against the Japanese yen. So we're looking for shorting opportunities in here, and that's why I really wanted to feature this, because really what it looks like when you look at what the central banks are doing, the Japanese central bank, though it's threatening a lot, really its QE program is QE light compared to what's happening here in the US, and that's why you're getting this in here. This slippage that's going on, and that I think is going to turn into a lot worse. This target's down over here around this is 105.30. This level right over here is about 103.45. Well, that's where we think we're going, and there could be some very significant trade potentials when you look at that. So what we've had in here is that the momentum has turned negative right at this point. And when you had this big upward spike and then it came down, the momentum never recovered, and it's been negative this whole time, as you can see. And that is the first important picture that I want you to see, is that the dollar is really technically weakening significantly on an intermediate term against the Japanese yen. Now, when I look at the daily chart in here, I want you to see the beauty in these cycle trends that we see in here. Each of these are the cyclical harmonic families, where that's made up of a dominant cycle and the minor thirds. And you can see each of these is made up 1, 2, 3 cycles, 1, 2, 3, and here's 1 and 2. So that we were looking for this decline right into this area, and then one more little attempted rally right over here. So if the dollar gets a pop right in here, you can see the thickness of the resistance in here. Here's your minor sell zones that come off of this cycle right there. So this is made of our swing high, swing low analysis, and there's your sell area right here. And off of this dominant cycle decline, here's your short-term sell zone right there. There is very small likelihood that you can get much rally up in here with the thickness of these resistance zones, and these are sell zones up in here. So we really want to watch for that for a potential sell zone. Interestingly, right over here when it made the top, Our option bias indicator, fantastic indicator, gave you the top warning. Those are those two orange dots that occurred right over there. Really great. And here, when you got the orange dots right over here, it got massively oversold, and it really picked that up. So you've got the bottom warning right over there. It then went neutral, and right now it's slightly oversold is what you see. So maybe we'll get that little bit of pop in here, but it really feels like a screaming sell. Somebody wrote to me and said, what does screaming short mean? Well, screaming short means is I'm screaming at you. And I think that if we get a pop up in here, it's a short, and I think it's a high probability. So I wanted you to see that. When you look at that. Now you notice I don't have any momentum on here because our level 4 members, and level 3 members actually, get some pictures of our momentum a little bit differently. And I want you to see here, this is the slim ribbon as it unfolds when you look at it on an area chart. And you can see that it has become negative momentum right in this area. And we use the projection oscillator, and the projection oscillator, when this is red and this gets overbought, it gives you signals. And here is the sell signal right over here, which was very clear. This is market forecast. There's nothing in there right now of any significance. So this is giving you sell mode in here in the US dollar. Japanese yen, that looks quite negative to me when you look at that. And the last thing I want you to see is the intraday. So we look at the 2-hour charts for momentum, also for shorter term traders. And this is interesting because you can see the negative momentum started right in here. Here's your sell warning right there. We call this a sell enhancement, really, because we know this is negative right in here, but this confirms it because it gets internally overbought and then goes right down again. Here it did the same thing. So it brought you that big sell, it brought you this big one right over here, and we've been in this negative mode right over here for quite a number of days. And you had a little bit of a strengthening here. So like I said, I thought the yen might bottom and get a little bit of a pop, but we're getting these warnings right over here that it doesn't have much to go. So maybe a couple of few days up into that sell area, and then it'll be moving down again. So I wanted you to see the deeper analysis as we look at this. Here you could see that chart right there on the daily momentum. It says sell. Here you could see over here on the cycle analysis, it says that the between 107.40 and 108.20 is your short side entry in here. And here is that weekly chart in that declining phase right over there as momentum is negative. And it certainly looks like it's got problems down to 105 or 103.40. So that is a look at the Japanese yen with some deeper analysis. I hope that was interesting to you and that you enjoyed that and will consider how you could expand your analysis in these ways when you do want to trade futures, or even you can use this in any other type of analysis. So that's what we look at: weekly, daily momentum, and 2-hour for our level 4 members.